Yo, what's up everyone? My name is Andrew Warren, and in today's video, we're going to, of course, be breaking down our portfolio as usual. Had another green day today, actually made about $1,200 plus another 145 in after hours. So that's about like 1.57%. So I'm very happy with today. Today has been a fantastic day, and the surprising thing is that one of my stocks was actually red, but I had two so far into the green that I still made over $1,000 and made over 1.5%. So that's definitely a big deal, and I'm really excited as I'm nearing all-time highs. But before we jump on into this video any further, please make sure to smash that like button, drop a like on this video if you just appreciate the transparency and the daily updates like these. But like I said, one of my stocks was red, Tesla. I'm not too disappointed. As we know, Tesla is a volatile stock. No worries on that whatsoever. But for the long term is really what I'm looking for with Tesla. And I think the general trend is going to be very, very good for those that decided to invest in the stock under 1,000. But what the real topic of this video, something that we gotta focus on, is Microsoft. Microsoft actually still in some of the shine today, aside from Tesla. It's not Tesla today going crazy. It is Microsoft stock. It has finally hit $200. It's over $200 per share right now, currently at $200.99. And like I said earlier, the crazy thing is, even though Tesla was in the red, actually kind of decently in the red, minus 0.63%, both of my other main stocks that I hold did very, very well for today. And that is Microsoft stock at plus 2.99% and Apple stock at plus 2.97%. So as we know with Apple, it's a huge deal right now with them creating their own chips and separating from Intel when it comes to like using their Intel chips in their products. So that is a huge deal, and I think people truly don't realize the potential with that in the future. As you can see from this article from The Verge, it says Apple is switching Macs to its own processors starting later this year. So this is absolutely a huge deal in my opinion, and this is truly what I call vertical integration. So instead of having to buy from another company, they're actually developing their own in-house, which is a huge deal. That's the reason why Tesla is so valued, because they don't need a lot of other companies and other people to rely on to produce their own products. So with Apple creating their own as well, that adds to that vertical integration, and it also adds much more potential to this company and to this stock in the future, because it gives them a lot more opportunities as well, because keep in mind they're not buying from other companies, so the profit margins are actually going to be much better with Apple producing them on their own. But like I said, the huge deal for today is not only just Apple, but Microsoft stock. Microsoft stock absolutely surged. So just to break down the movements for today really quick, just to give you all some perspective, my sleep schedule was absolutely destroyed. So like I said, I was probably up until about 10:25 a.m. and that's when I started going to sleep, and I woke up at about 3:30. So as we can see, until about, I would say, 9:40, so a little bit farther after the pre-market hours, is when we really started to see just most of our stocks skyrocketing. And then we had a little bit downturn right here until 11:15, and then ever since then it just went up and pretty much flattened out ever since then for that general baseline trend. So today has been a fantastic day. I actually did not expect it to do that well, especially with the pre-market hours, it only being up just a few percent. I thought, okay, it's going to be barely above baseline, and then I guess probably spike down in the red for the rest of the day. But it actually turned out much better than I thought it would. But like I said, one of the huge takeaways for today, and one of the biggest deals of today for me, was Microsoft stock finally hitting 200. So I'm going to go ahead and just explain why I think this is such a big deal. Because for a long time, we have been under 200 for Microsoft. However, if you really think about it, it hasn't been really too long considering the growth rate, because a lot of companies would probably have taken like 5 times as long as Microsoft to reach 200. But what I'm emphasizing here is that there's been a lot of resistance before that 200. As we know right here, it hit 188.70, and then it hit 187, and then that's when we had the stock market crash. So it got really, really close to 200 way back in February. And as we know, the stock crashed, and I was buying all the way down. This was the stock that I was focusing on. I was pretty much only buying Microsoft stock during this time. So I was buying sets of shares on the way down, and then I was buying at the bottom as well. I clearly remember buying many shares at 135. Not as many as some of the ones I bought right in here, but I'm still completely okay with that because I did buy the dip. And as you all can see, it completely recovered, and it has gone way past that since then. As we know, it hit 186 again on May 11th. Then we had to wait a bit of a while. until about June 10th. It hit 196 and then spiked back down. So a little bit of resistance there as well near that 200. And then finally today we hit 200. So this is a huge milestone. And if you're new to investing and aren't really familiar with stocks that much, that's one thing to keep in mind, is that especially with some of these stocks, even if they are fantastic stocks, some of these do face a lot of resistance when it comes to milestone numbers like $200, $100, $1,000. So for Microsoft to finally hit $200, that's definitely a big deal. It's the equivalent of Tesla finally hitting $1,000. Once you finally hit it, yes, there might be some volatility back and forth, but what really matters is that we've been there before and it's not uncharted territory. So people aren't really like uncertain and scared and wondering whether they should invest in it still and stuff like that. So that is the good thing. I'm really happy to see Microsoft finally hit $200. And also, I have been seeing many analysts talk about how they're trimming their Microsoft stock. And I just watched this video on MSNBC. It was from June 19th. And I just watched this like 5 minutes ago, watching some of the analysts talk about how they think Microsoft is a little bit overvalued and that they're trimming some of their Microsoft stock. And in my personal opinion, I'm going to be completely real with you all. Especially in 2020, one of the worst things investors can do is listen to these analysts that get on TV and talk about stocks, because I think most of these analysts have zero clue what they're actually talking about. Nowadays in 2020, it seems like the retail investor, the individual person, is smarter than the typical analyst. And that's slowly one of the few things that I've learned about stock market investing over the past few months. And it's for me to not put a lot of my faith in these analysts to provide actual accurate information, because as we know, a lot of these stocks, every single stock that I own that is doing well right now, analysts are saying that it is overvalued. Every single stock that I have in my portfolio. Yes, I understand Tesla may be a little bit overvalued in terms of like analyst expectations and a fair value, but I still think for a speculative stock in the long term, it's still a fair value, even at $9.95. I think the same thing for Apple. I think, of course, their new chip processors, that is a huge deal that people just don't realize yet. Analysts have been saying that Apple is a fair value of $240 for like months now, and Apple is continuing to just prove them totally wrong. And with Microsoft as well, it's one of two AAA companies in the world, only one of two, and one of the few stocks in the stock market that has consistently beat earnings. One of the few stocks on Robinhood right now that you can look at the chart and it is beaten earnings every single quarter that is visible on the chart. So in my opinion, the analysts that are saying that Microsoft is a sell right now, that it's overvalued, I think they're just totally clueless. Yes, 201 is higher than the fair value on Robinhood, but I still think Microsoft is worth more than $201 right now. I think there's still much more potential, and especially as they add more to the company and grow, it's just going to continue to grow in the future. So considering that video I was recently discussing, I do want to talk about a Microsoft bull that I really enjoyed hearing his perspective on and was kind of surprised to see it. It was actually Mr. Wonderful from Shark Tank, Kevin O'Leary, and he had some really good perspective on this stock. He basically emphasized that he's still holding this. So I'll go ahead and include the clip for you all really quick. And out of all people, I was especially surprised to see Mr. Wonderful defending Microsoft stock. So I'll go ahead and roll this clip for you all.
Kevin O'Leary.
You know, I would make a point about Microsoft that's unique. It is the only stock I can find that finds itself in growth indices, and I'm an indexer, so I'm rules-based. I don't have an emotional opinion, but I can tell you it's the only name that sits in a really boring index that is a dividend play like OUSA, but it's also the #2 holding in OGIG, which is a growth mandate. Show me a stock that does both. You can't find one. And that's why it's an overweight, and I haven't sold a dime of it. And I'm going to stay long right through the next 2 years.
So as you can see from that clip, Kevin has a fantastic point, and it's something that I've been emphasizing video after video on my channel. I've been trying to tell people that Microsoft is a pretty solid growth stock for the long term. And so basically in that video, he emphasizes that Microsoft is one of the very few growth stocks that performs well and performs consistently and beats earnings, yet it's also a dividend stock as well and offers pretty solid dividends. And just to give you all an example of that, I recently received a dividend on June 11th for owning 113 shares. So as you can see, just for that quarter, I earned $57.63 in addition to this tremendous growth that I've had just over the past few months of owning this stock at plus 17.26%. So just to break down the numbers for today and the rest of the stocks, as you can see, today's return, we're at plus a crazy 2.98%, or plus $1,135. And then in total, we're at plus 17.26%, which is around plus $5,774. So as you all can see, average cost is about $171, and I own 195 shares, and it takes up about 45% of my portfolio. So I really do take Microsoft serious, and that's why it takes up a lot of my portfolio. Moving on to the next one, which is Tesla. As you can see, we had a red day for this one, in which it's at currently minus 0.59% for the day, which is about $201 in losses for the day. So honestly, not too bad in terms of just volatility. And then, of course, for the total return, we're at plus 18.64%, or plus $5,315. So I'm still very, very satisfied with both this, Microsoft, and Apple as well. And I'll go ahead and show you the returns on Apple also. And just to mention, as you can see, I own 34 shares of Tesla. Average cost is $839, and portfolio diversity about 38%. So next up, we have Apple. And for today's return, we're at plus 2.87%, definitely a significant day. So that's about $421 in gains. And then for the total return, this stock has actually performed better than all of the other stocks that I own right now. But I've been holding Apple stock much longer than I have Tesla and Microsoft, but that's still something to keep in mind. This is like that stock that surprisingly outperforms all of the other stocks, in which you didn't expect it to do that. You expected it to do well, of course, but you didn't expect it to outperform Tesla and even my big Microsoft stock that I love. But as you can see, total return plus 25.81%, which is about $3,100. And I own 42 shares, takes up 17% of my portfolio. Average cost is $286. Crazy thing to think about is that $286 would seem like an insanely high price to buy this just a few months ago, and now it's at $360. So that's why I emphasize on a lot of these stocks like Microsoft and Tesla that they can still go much, much higher, and I think they will grow higher in the future. And that's why I just dollar cost average a lot of the times. I'm only interested in investing in three main stocks right now, so why would I invest in another stock? Even if Microsoft or Tesla or Apple was at a high value, I understand some of them are kind of high right now, but even if they are, I would still rather dollar cost average on those stocks than some of the others that I think will perform poorly compared to the ones that I have picked. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. I just wanted to do a quick breakdown on my portfolio and of course talk about Microsoft stock as well. I think this is absolutely huge. I've been a Microsoft bull for a few months now, and I really hope people start to catch on that Microsoft is a great high quality long-term stock. But also keep in mind that anything I have said or will say in this video is not to be considered financial advice. This is just my personal opinion, but if people don't catch on, then that just means that I'll be able to keep buying this stock at a cheaper price than what I would be able to. So I'm happy either way. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you did, please make sure to smash that like button, and feel free to sign up to Robinhood and Webull with my referral link in the description. If you do, then you'll get some free stocks. As you can see, here's just one example, but just to give you some insight on Webull, I've been getting a lot more expensive stocks, so it doesn't hurt to sign up to both. I've been getting like $13 stocks on Webull, like Redfin and stuff, and Levi. But anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video, and I hope you have a fantastic rest of your week. Stay safe out there.